welcome to a new episode of the 90s Metal Gamer, where we stay hydrated and play video games. This video is very special to me. It is a casual review of The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. Link's Awakening was my entry into the Zelda franchise, and I played it on the old school GBA, the one with the green background. Yeah, that one right there. That was many years ago. When I heard that Link's Awakening was getting an HD remaster, well, I don't know if this would be classified as an HD remaster. Regardless, whenever I found out it was getting remastered, I was ecstatic. I was jumping off the walls. I could not contain myself. I guess you can consider this my unofficial start to my New Game Plus series. Speaking on that, my New Game Plus series is going to be games that I've reviewed previously, and I played them again to get a second opinion on it, just in case my thoughts have changed. And it is more or less to see how much I've matured as a gamer and as a content creator. But that is in the future, far into the future. I'm not ready for that just yet. Anyway, let's talk about Link's Awakening. Link's Awakening was my very first game that I ever played in the Zelda franchise, and it will always hold a special place in my heart. More so than Twilight Princess, Ocarina of Time, Breath of the Wild, or Tears of the Kingdom. Now don't get me wrong, Twilight Princess is my favorite game out of the entire Zelda franchise. As a matter of fact, during the channel's infancy, I made a casual review video of Twilight Princess, and needless to say, it was a pretty bad review video, at least in my opinion, because I was still new to this YouTube thing. As a matter of fact, I am still new to this day. And Twilight Princess is going to be my first entry into the New Game Plus series. I'm getting way off topic here. We need to get back on track. We're here to talk about Link's Awakening. Link's Awakening is one of those games that's truly special in its own right. Ganon's not involved, there's no Princess Zelda or anything like that, but it's still a legit Zelda game. I'm pretty sure you guys can already figure out what score I'm going to give this game based on how I'm talking about it in this introduction. But we're still going to give this a legitimate review. A casual review. Since this is a casual review video, I must iterate that I did not complete this game to 100%. That is the point of a casual review. Why I like to do it like this is because I like to enjoy my games whenever I play them. And I don't want to have to worry about doing a 100% completion. And that's just too much of a headache, and I'm not the completionist. Over the course of this review, we're going to go over the story, the gameplay, the presentation, and the music. And then we'll wrap it all up with our water score. Cue the channel intro.
And then the Lord said,
I want to see your tiny head.
Before I get into this review video, I want to talk a little bit about how Link's Awakening came to be on the Switch. There's not really much behind it, so it's gonna be quick. Nintendo likes to make their money off nostalgia, and people like me. Me being the 90s kid that I am, I love playing 90s games, but what I love more than playing 90s games is seeing the games that I grew up with get remastered. It is beautiful. Link's Awakening on the Switch really pulled hard on my nostalgia strings, and they reeled me in. And for whatever reason, this is how I remember playing Link's Awakening on that old school Game Boy. It really did hit me hard. Here's what I think why Nintendo decided to remaster Link's Awakening in 2019. I think it was just a way to keep us entertained in between major Zelda titles. What I mean by that is Breath of the Wild was released in 2017, and Tears of the Kingdom was released in 2023. And in between was Link's Awakening just to tide us over until Tears of the Kingdom released. It makes sense from how I see it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Alright, we're going to go ahead and keep this video rolling. We're going to go ahead and talk about Link's Awakening's story. Because I suck at storytelling, I'm going to let the game tell the story for me, and then we'll talk about it. If you have previously played Link's Awakening on the old school Game Boy or an emulator or whatever the case may be, then you would know that this introduction to the story is not what it seems to be. It goes deeper than that, and we're going to talk about it. That whole island that you just saw was merely a dream of the Windfish. If you have never played this game before, then I am going to spoil it for you. I'm sorry, feel free to click away, you will not be hurting my feelings. You're probably asking yourself, what the hell is a damn Windfish? We're going to talk about that later in the video. In order for Link to wake from the Windfish's dream, Link must visit 8 temples and defeat a monster that resides within that temple. Upon defeating a monster, Link will receive an instrument that will help in waking up the Windfish. Link must collect 8 instruments in all in order to wake the Windfish, otherwise the Windfish will not wake up, and Link will be forever stuck in this dreamland. Someone correct me if I'm wrong please, but I'm quite certain that Link's Awakening is the only Zelda game where Zelda isn't Link's love interest. In fact, it is another woman named Marin, and if I could direct your attention to the bottom right hand corner of your screen, you'll be able to see her in all her glory. And that about sums it up for the story of this game. It's quite simple. Visit 8 temples, collect 8 instruments, wake the Windfish, congratulations, game over. Since I really don't have anything else to add to the story, let's listen to some music courtesy of Jacob Lazat while I fight this monster. Enjoy. What I really liked about the gameplay in Link's Awakening is that it stayed true to its form. What I mean by that is the top-down perspective with the camera. And much to my surprise, the camera angle does not hinder any of the gameplay whatsoever. In fact, I think it enhances the gameplay. Another thing that I really liked about Link's Awakening was that there were a lot of Mario references in this game, just like this one right here. If you're an OG player of Link's Awakening, then you would know that the OG game has the same Easter eggs. And let's not forget the special guest appearances by the Goomba, Kirby, and the Piranha Plant. The gameplay is very similar to that of any other Zelda game that you've previously played. What I mean by that is dungeons, you got your puzzles in the dungeons. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But in the case of Link's Awakening for the Switch, it was not broken, but Nintendo fixed it anyway. Every element from the Game Boy game that you can think of has been drastically improved for the Switch. I think they did great on this. Previously on the Game Boy, you had a very limited amount of buttons for your items, and now on the Switch, you have items that are already preset to buttons, as well as customizable Y and X buttons. The items that were already preset for the game are the Pegasus boot, the sword, and the shield. I think that's about it. If I'm missing something, let me know in the comments below. Link's Awakening starts out fairly simple, just like any other Zelda game, and it is purely just to get you acclimated to the controls. At least that's what I want to believe. But in true Zelda fashion, everything gets more difficult as you progress through the game. The dungeons get more difficult, the challenges get more difficult, how to get the keys get more difficult, everything in general. It even got to a point where I had to use good old Google just to figure something out. Not necessarily something I like to do for a Zelda game because I pride myself on completing it without help, but I had to in this case. As for the controls, they were very easy to learn and very easy to master. There was no lag input whatsoever, although I should add that I used the Nintendo Switch Pro controller, which made everything infinitely easier altogether. I highly recommend you get a Switch Pro controller. It's great. Link's Awakening is truly fun to look at, and if I had to describe it in just a matter of few words, it would be cute, bright, colorful, very vibrant, and dare I say, dreamlike? I'll explain this. I would like to draw your attention to the upper and lower edges of your screen. They look blurry, almost as if you're watching a dream. And since this game is based on dreaming, Nintendo did an absolutely amazing job trying to capture that feeling. Truth be told, I am really not a fan of the cartoonish type Link. I like the more realistic Link, like Twilight Princess. But Link's Awakening has that certain appeal to it that just makes it look very cuddly and welcoming, and you just want to snuggle it. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, you have your dungeons, which give it a dark and gloomy feel to it. It's almost as if Nintendo wants you to believe that this is a very dark, gloomy, and evil game, but at the same time, it wants you to believe that this is a very cuddly and warming and welcoming and bright and colorful game. I think it's all over the place, and not necessarily in a bad way. I think it's just encompassing everything Zelda. Overall, I'd have to say the graphics were very, very pleasant to look at, very fun, and the mark that Nintendo was trying to shoot for, I think, was a mixed mark. And they hit it, if you ask me. They got everything on point. Absolutely beautiful and amazing. Now I don't know about you, but that little cutscene right there with all the instruments playing gave me goosebumps. It is very reminiscent of the OG Game Boy game, while giving its own special twist to it in the modern era. The music from this version of Link's Awakening takes notes from its OG predecessor on the Game Boy and just improves it tenfold. Everything has been made better for this game, and the music in general is just beautiful. The best way I can describe this music is probably the same way I can describe the graphics. Cute. But in this case I would use melodic as well. Each area of the map has its own music, which matches the area perfectly. And that goes for the same as the dungeons. Every dungeon has its own specific music and they all match it perfectly. 10 out of 10. Just as I promised you in the beginning of this video, here is the windfish. It is this whale looking thing with wings. I don't know else how to describe it, but there it is, just as I promised you. This thing's dream was your entire adventure on that island, and now that you have awakened it, that island no longer exists and you can go back to being you. Overall, I had so much fun playing this game, and this whole game was a huge rush of nostalgia for me. I really did feel like I was reliving my childhood again. This was the first game that I played in the Zelda franchise, and it deserves a place among the greatest games of all time if you ask me. Playing this game did not go without its challenges. I did have some difficulty completing some of the puzzles, and if I remember correctly, I did the same thing with the 90s version of this game. If I can help it, I will not use Google at all, but I had so much trouble that I ultimately caved in and used Google anyway. The difficulties that I had playing this game have zero impact on how I'm going to grade this score. Quite frankly, I think that would be unfair if I did, considering this is a casual review video. All things considered, I will give this game a water score of, surprise surprise, 5 out of 5 bottles of water. Thank you for watching my videos. I really do appreciate it, and I really do mean that. On that note, I am trying my best to be consistent with my content. Please keep in mind that I am very busy, and any spare time that I have, I use it to create some videos. So, I love y'all, stay hydrated, and stay tuned for my next video. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you.